Well, hello everyone. Gary here. Guess I'm gonna start doing like a bi-weekly update on all of this. Um, so this is our progress so far. Um, as this month has went through, I've made contact with basically everyone we have a bill with in some way or another. Internet, phone, electric, everyone. So what I kind of want to go over is the progress that I've made, if we call it that. Sometimes it kind of feels like I'm taking a couple steps backwards, but it is what it is. Okay, so I have not went into any additional debt. That's a good thing. Two thumbs up, right? Um, it's a matter of working out the numbers and getting actual good numbers and good data for what the plan is. So I don't remember if I before estimated the Philippines trip to be something more than what it was in the last video. I know at first I was. So the Philippines trip went down to 15,000, and this will probably go down even further to like 10,000 later on. I was just looking at flights and stuff, and they're a little cheaper than I originally thought. But I don't know what 2027 looks like as far as flights. All I can do is look 6 months ahead. So we'll see. My wife doesn't make as much as I originally thought. So um, Well, she does, but she doesn't. The original calculations I did was based off of all the overtime that she has been putting in lately. Um, so I didn't, well, I realized that, but I tried to offset it and tried to remove the overtime, but I guess my math was wrong. So I was off by $1,000 there. Um, and then with the water softener and the water filter, I looked at the original contracts, and so these are not loans per se. These, and I thought it was a loan, but they're not loans, so there's no interest rate associated with these. These are rent to own agreements, which sucks because what they did in the agreement is they said, well, this is the price of the system and this is how much you're going to pay every month. You do the math, it ends up that you're going to be paying this amount over the course of everything. Before I decided to go on Dave Ramsey's stuff is when, just before actually, is when I signed up for those. So it's only been like 2 months, 3 months if we count this coming month, right? So if we look at this number right here, this is the duration of the entire agreement. Um, and I called them. I'm like, oh, okay, well, what's my principal? And they said, no, this is how much the whole agreement's for. Um, So when you come call back to pay off the rent to own agreement, when you pay us out, buy us out of this, this is whatever this number is minus however many payments of this number is what you're gonna owe. So and when I said so there is no interest. No, there's not. So I've updated the snowball to reflect the fact that ooh, I an interest here that should actually be there. I think that was 26.9% or something like that. It's not gonna matter too much because this is one of the first things that we're paying off anyway. Okay, so with that said, I wish I quit getting messages. Let me go ahead and just kill Discord here. Okay, I should stop getting messages now. So with that said, this is higher than I originally thought it was by about $600 or so. Not a dream killer, but it sucks. So we're $1,000 less every month here than I originally thought. We're um, $500 higher than what we thought here. But I also talked to my mortgage company. I'm 1,000 something dollars less on my mortgage than I originally thought. So woohoo! One of the next things that I had discovered is when I went and calculated my snowball on my mortgage, my monthly mortgage payment, I put 2,400 and something dollars there. I think it was no, it was 2,573. Now that is actually the payment that I do make to the mortgage company, 2,573. But this is a has an escrow account associated with it, and it also has mortgage insurance, uh, MIP, for an for the type of loan that I have. That's also associated with it. So 2573 is actually what I pay the bank, but um, that's not what's being applied to the loan. So what I've done here is I went back and I added together the principal and the interest, and that's actually what's being applied to the loan. So it's a $730 difference. Um, so that updates my debt snowball a bit. All of that together updates the debt snowball because now I don't have 4,300 or whatever left over. I think it was 4,300. I don't have that much left over anymore. So, um, now in some months I might actually have that much left over, right? Cool thing is, spoke to my sister. She's cool. She was on my car insurance. She's no longer on my car insurance. My car insurance this month was actually $311. Um, but it's a variable rate insurance plan. It goes up and down based off of my quote unquote safety score with Tesla. So I budget $400. So I'm budgeting high compared to what it probably will be. Um, so that's going in our favor. And then the electric bill, I have the solar. I have a solar buyback plan. I also get free nights, and there's last month and this month my electric bill was actually negative. Um, I don't get a check from them. I wish I did, but the electric bill was actually negative, so I represent that as zero because I don't get a check from them. But it will also offset like next month's bill. If I actually have like a bill next month for electric bill, it'll offset that a little bit. So I budget $200 a month for electricity just in case. Um, and then so that should bring back another $300 or so, roughly. 250, $300 on some months that I can also throw back into this the snowball. So this is more of a kind of a worst case scenario. This was Don't ignore these numbers. This was a worst case scenario sort of thing. Everything you see here in green, that's bills that I've already paid or allocated. And I kind of do want to kind of go through and show you guys what um, Qube is all about, and maybe I will soon ish once I start using it more. But everything now, except for a couple of things, has been moved out to Qube. So we have Chase, we also have Qube, our savings account, and our main checking account is at Chase. And I say a main checking account, it's not really a main anymore. After all of this, Qube has become our main account, right? Um, so what I've done is I've taken all of this math, I've added it all together minus what stays in our primary account. So all of this got added together. So 7301. I get paid bi-weekly. My paycheck is plenty to pay for um, all of that. So what I've done was I got with HR at work and I said, hey, every other week, or basically when you send me a paycheck, put 7,300 divided by 2, right? Whatever that is. Put that into Qube, and then the rest of it, throw it in my Chase account. Um, and the idea here is we know that the water softener, the water filter is going to be paid off very, very soon, right? Um, and there is something with that too that I'll discuss here in just a second. So this will be paid off very, very soon. Um, and then also the credit card will be paid off. So we're looking at 3 months. The credit card and the water softener will be paid off. Um, so this and this will go away here in about 3 months. Um, so that's going to be great for us. And then I'll get with HR actually at work and go and remove this $80 from Qube and have it go back into Chase. So the idea is Qube will be any monthly expenses, any groceries, any of those monthly expenses minus the credit card, because the credit card's with Chase as well, so it's easier for us just to go ahead and pay the bill from within Chase. And it's not going to be very long that we're doing that. So and then my wife's sister, the $300 again, Chase. We can send the money through Chase, so it stays within Chase. Um, so with that said, um, and this is a whole different story here, a whole different can of worms. Not even going to go into it, but this is a bill we have. Ultimately, my wife's sister's in college. We're trying to help her pay for her living expenses while she's in college. So, um, just is what it is. So with that said, um, what we'll do is this $80 or so, $79, we'll get with HR once this is paid off in 2 months, um, and say, hey, don't send that to Qube anymore. Um, Instead, send that to the Chase account, because the Chase account is also going to act as a staging ground for these monthly big payouts, right? Because Qube has limits. Chase also sort of has limits, but not 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 as much as Qube does. Um, so basically, ultimately, what we're going to do is we're going to make this payment, and then we're going to turn around and make this payment. Uh, but the mass payment will be from Chase. Now, there is a little bit of a nuisance with these two, which kind of throws a little bit of a wrench in the bucket, but not so much. I've got to work. I think I got to work around. So this amount right here, plus the $80, $79, is not enough to pay for both of them in full, right? When I called them and I asked them, I said, hey, when I have, because I told them I'm working on paying off all debt, right? And they're the first ones on the list because they're the smallest. So I called them. I'm like, hey, when I call in and I want to make a lump sum payment, right? And can I, for example, make a $1,500 payment here? And their response was no. I can't come in and say, hey, let me make a $1,500 payment here. If I want to make a lump sum, it has to be for the full amount, um, which is ridiculous, but whatever. So the workaround is we know, I keep switching these tabs when I'm looking for these. So the workaround is we know that we can make a $3,700, almost a $3,800 payment next month, right? This right here, we only owe $3,200 minus 2 months of this, 3 months of this maybe. So, but we know that we won't have enough money for this, which is fine. So what I'm going to end up doing is next month when I make the phone call, I'm going to pay this one off. Whatever's left over is going to go ahead and go into the credit card, my next debt. I don't want to leave that just sitting in the bank account. I want the money to actually work for me. So I'm going to go ahead and make the payment, the overpayment to the credit card. The following month, I'm going to call in. I'm going to go ahead and pay this off, which will get rid of this altogether, right? And then whatever's left over will go to the credit card, and that's just the way it was. So there would be one payment that's kind of weird, um, versus the snowball, right? So I'll make the overpayment here, and then here, and then from that point on, the snowball starts acting like normal. Um, and then the following month, of course, that credit card will be paid off. This expense will be gone. These two will be gone in 3 months. And of course, 4 months from then, um, this expense will be gone, completely gone. Of course, 4 more months, 3 more months after that, um, this will be gone. So that's the intent, and I just want to kind of give this update to you guys, because I am still working on this. This is very much so intentional. We will get through the debt, and we will build wealth. Um, and of course, the trading budget is $300. I kind of went over budget this month on it. It's now being tracked in Qube. So next month, I'm not even going to give myself a budget on the first. I'm gonna wait until the middle of the month next month before I even try to give myself a budget for that. But there is a little bit to say about that is, and please don't get sucked into this. It loses money more than it makes money, but um, I think I'm on to something with it. I've got out of this month, and maybe I'll start doing a video series about how trading is going every couple weeks, maybe once a month. I don't know. But I've switched over to algos, algorithms and stuff like that. There's one algorithm that I have that's very risky, and then there's one that's not so risky. Still risky, but not so risky. Um, and what I've found is there is a good chance, there's a very, very slim chance. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's not likely, um, that an account gets blown with this algorithm that I'm trading. It's just incredibly slow, which is fine. I'm gonna let the investment grow. So with the trading, what I have done this month is I've actually passed three, what's called an evaluation accounts. I've passed three of those, and now my long-term algorithm is on those three accounts. Um, it'll take me about a year or more before I'm able to take payouts from those funded accounts. Um, mainly, I mean, I guess technically in 6 months, 7 months, I should be able to take a payout if I wanted to, but I'm not going to because I want those accounts to scale up over time. I want them to make money and reinvest the money that they make. I may take little small payouts here and there to kind of just pay myself back the, for this trading, or completely replace this budget, this $300 a month, completely replace this with a payout, a monthly payout from the prop firm. That way this comes out of my budget completely. Um, and then I'm just reinvesting profits from actually trading. So that's the goal. So for now, I'm gonna keep the $300, but hopefully in the next 6 or 7 months, 8 months or so, I can start taking a payout from one of the accounts, and just start using that payout to invest into the next accounts. Um, so my goal with trading is I want to add one additional funded account per month. Um, and a funded account right now, with it being scaled all the way down, makes about $450 to $500 a month, on one account, right? Um, and I can't realize that, I can't put that on this budget until it's stable, right? So I won't be including that as part of this budget. Just know that eventually I will be coming out and doing some videos and saying, well, this is how much I'm taking from actually trading, and maybe I'll disclose eventually the algorithm I'm using. Um, I'm not going to do that right now. I'm not trying to sell trading. It's a hobby at best at this point. Um, and if you would have asked me 3 months ago, it wouldn't have been a hobby. It would have been a gambling addiction. Um, so with that said, um, I've clawed back a little bit. I am treating it more as a startup business it does algo trading, and I refuse to touch it at this point. Once I have a live account, I refuse to touch those live accounts manually, touch them. Um, so with that said, that is the budget as it stands today. Hopefully in the next 12 months or so, 18 months, I'll be taking payouts from the prop firm, and that'll also speed this up. Plus maybe some, pay raises and that kind of stuff. Bonuses from work. Um, who knows what's going to happen in the next 3 years? Um, it's entirely possible to see that kind of stuff happen. At least some sort of pay raise, however big or small. Um, with that said, thanks for watching. I just wanted to give this update, and maybe you guys can critique the budget, but this is what I've done the math on, and I'm starting to kind of lock in at this point. Um, and it'll be as far as the um, oh yeah, the net worth calculator, right? I'm not going to update that in this video. I'm gonna probably do that on a cadence of once a month, right? Towards the end of every month. We already did this month's sort of. Um, and there, it hadn't changed very much. So I think on September 1st we might do that. So September 1st we may go ahead and do an update to the net worth, and then we'll wait until October 1st to do another one, and we'll just probably shoot for the first of every month for a net worth update. Um, and if you don't know, my net worth is trash. It's like negative 17,000 or something like that. So um, it's horrible. But here in the next, let's actually go look at the snowball. Here in the next 5,000, 6,000, 1,000, I would say probably in the next 5 months, 6 months, it won't be negative anymore. We'll start actually seeing some money in the net worth. And the biggest milestone across will be the $100,000 milestone, from what I understand. Um, and then, of course, when we start putting this Philippines trip in there, I'm not going to count that as my net worth. Now, my bank account balances did change, so my net worth actually did go down even further, monthly stuff. But it is what it is. Um, it's kind of hard to keep track of right now because some of my money's in Chase, some of it's in Qube, and some of it's allocated but not spent yet. I think it's probably going to be better to not include cash on hand unless it's in a savings account, because cash on hand could be allocated to a debt, a bill. You know, it's just temporarily there. It's not actually, that's not money I'm going to keep, right? Um, so I think anything that's in Qube, I probably won't put it on the net worth calculator, and so basically a checking account probably won't be on net worth calculator going forward. So that's one thing I'm gonna leave and do. Now, if it's in a savings account, then we will put it in the net worth calculator. I think that's the way I'm gonna do it. But sorry, it's been long-winded. I just kind of wanted to give this update, and this is what the chart looks like. 7.3 years if I stay really on track and just pay off everything. I don't think I'm gonna do that with a mortgage. Um, and honestly, if we remove the mortgage out of here, it comes out to 3 years exactly. So, we got a whole 3 year snowball that we got to deal with. Um, because Dave Ramsey doesn't say continue on to debt, to mortgage. He says once you finish all of this, he says then move on to the emergency fund. 3 months of emergency fund, 3 to 6 months, And when we take our living expenses, this is the wrong side. So when we take our living expenses, electric, insurance, car won't exist, Casey's car won't exist, solar panel won't exist, credit card won't exist, groceries will, gas bill will. Um, this won't exist. Sure, we'll include these. Sure. Comes out to $5,600. 5,600 times 6 is 33,000. I rounded up to 40,000, so that is more than 6 months, and of emergency expenses there. So that just makes life great. And of course, that's assuming that I'll stop saving up at 40,000. But that gets us over to out of step three. So the hardest step, honestly, the hardest step is going to be step two for anybody doing Dave Ramsey. Step two is going to be the hardest. Step three, look how short step three is compared to step two. Step one was easy, super easy. Put $1,000 back. Step two, snowball. And honestly, this would be even shorter if we didn't have to do this, um, but it is what it is. So snowball, and then um, from there we start doing like retirement funds, college funds. After doing that for a little bit, then we'll switch over to putting the mortgage on top of that. Um, but yeah, should all be fine. Anyway, it's been long-winded. Sorry about that. Um, this is just an update. Have a good day, everyone. Bye bye.